Welcome back to another Racing with Jesse Rosinski. I have no idea. See, now when Walter has been here, when you listen to me, and I'm sitting there going, well, it took the 14th time before it finally worked. At least it makes sense now.
Good
This
stuff.
This is how today's going to go. Not leaving the house. At least there's a
Very
giant
possible.
wall fish tank stand for it to, anything to get to me through the front of my house. So, I already went over my feelings on Richmond. I mean, there was good 2-lane racing, but I kind of thought it was a stinker of a race. I mean, it wasn't like the weekend wasn't all that exciting. Like the racing wasn't exciting. Like it was much more dominated by the big teams. Yeah. Gibbs, Hendrick, and Penske led every lap. Not a single person got anything else. And there's practically anything in the top 10. So it was garbage to me. I don't know how you felt, but I already went over on Monday. I thought it sucked, to be honest. Regardless of Harvick, finally being up there.
It was a very dull race.
Yeah, and there wasn't anything to it.
It was definitely a dull race. I think they need to change their stages up a little bit.
Fun. That was hard, but there wasn't any tire issues at least.
No, there was no tire issues. That might have to do with the fact that they couldn't get fast enough in that rear independent suspension car in that track, which is going to be even more of a factor this week because of track size.
Yep.
But I think it's safe to say that it was very dull.
Yeah.
That's the best way I put it.
I mean, thankfully we're going to Martinsville. At least
To
that
be
should.
honest, though, the best racing last week, I think, at that track, hands down, was the modified race.
Oh, well, without a doubt.
Those guys.
Without a doubt. Those guys get it. Like they're all going for it.
Speaking of that,
no one's moving over for anyone. It's like, what? Get out the way, or I'll get you out of the way.
For those who didn't watch it, I got some info for you. Just for you, Ski. First place went to number 51, Justin Bosnier. Second place went to 54, Tommy Catalano. Third place went to 2, Chuck Osfield. Fourth place was number 5, Kyle Ebersol. Fifth place was 32, Tyler Rakima. I always pronounce his name wrong. He's gonna one of these days. I'm gonna get a phone call.
Hey, how do you pronounce that? Wrong every time. That's how I pronounce that.
But Newman was driving a number 39. He actually took 13th. He was better. He was in the top half of the group rather than the back half.
Yeah, not bad for not really. I mean, he hasn't done a lot of racing. So
if I recall correctly and I counted correctly, there was a total of 3 cautions. FYI, I figured out who his ride was through. It was Hermie Sadler.
There you go. Hermie. There's a name. That's it.
I just had to throw that out there.
Hermie Sadler. There's a name we have. I mean, you haven't heard the name Elliott Sadler in a long time. It's been a lot longer since we heard the Herm. Good for him.
Well, look who we're talking about driving for him, though. He's not necessarily fresh off the apple bushel here.
Not necessarily. No, he's not there. But Hermie Sadler, good for him. Like, again, a lot of those guys have teams in a lot of different, whether it's dirt, wheel-in modify, like a lot of them like have teams here and there for a bunch of different stuff, just for, again, moments like, because they want to keep going racing, they want to have a young guy. Newman wants to race. I mean, they have it for,
not to mention half of those guys. You look at Wallace, man, he's driving modifieds. He's got his fingers in some late models over here. I mean, he's got his hands tied into a lot of different things.
He does.
The same with one of my favorites, Jeremy. I don't think the way it went down in NASCAR was the way it should have went, but I think there's 2 occupants there in that scenario that can't get their freaking heads out of their butts and can't get over the chip on their shoulder.
Hey,
it'd be Jeremy in NASCAR. That's
it'd be this. I mean, technically what he did was really against.
No, I'm saying
Guess what?
both of them need to get over the chip on their shoulder.
Guess what?
NASCAR and him.
Go to the class they want you to go to.
That's
Suck it up because you did it, and you'd be back tomorrow.
And he
Someone
probably
would
could
hire
come
you to
back
do something.
next season.
But again,
He'd probably be back next season too.
Guess what? AJ, he went through it and did it. Look at Larson went through all that thing. Kyle went through all that sensitivity stuff. Kyle Busch had to go to sensitivity.
Look at Kurt and Kevin.
Yeah, but Kyle Busch went through sensitivity training. Yeah, last year before the season, because he said a situation, which I'm pretty sure is at Martinsville, maybe coming off the last turn when Brad, put them both into the wall doing something stupid, was retarded because it wrecked some cars. And guess what? By definition, it was retarded. It's not nice to call someone that's mentally handicapped
Well, I feel like
retarded, but to call a situation retarded, guess what?
perfectly acceptable.
Guess what? Situations don't have feelings and aren't, mentally disabled. They're just something that
That's
happened.
what I'm saying. If Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch can turn around their anger issues in their NASCAR career, like they have legit anger problems.
I don't know. I thought last year he was going to kill Chase. I thought, wasn't it Chase?
Okay.
But I haven't seen one of those in a very
Well, as I'm saying, for the most part, those guys that went from who they used to be, which was literally, if you hit their net of their car wrong while walking by, they might lose their mind. That's who they used to be. They've come around a lot since then. Now, I'm going to have to say, with that being said, if that can happen in NASCAR, if Kyle Larson can get over his stupid, and I will say it again, stupid remark that he made, knowing that he potentially could have been live, whether he was or not, he should have known that he was, just because of the simple fact that he was on a broad streaming surface. Anyways, even if it's not recording, if you're on that, you should always assume that it's recording just to cover your ass. I don't care what you say. It's the only thing to think like. With that being said, those guys can turn their careers around, get their heads out of their asses just for a moment to think, well, wait a minute. Those guys have way worse problems than you. All you got to do is just go, man, I made a mistake, screwed up. I'm going to take this class and try to keep my head on straight. There you go. Problem solved. If I can say that, there's no reason why that cool-headed person couldn't say it.
Hey, but he'd rather just, buck the system.
But he is doing well in other racing series.
Oh, he is.
So, I mean, they're NASCAR sanctioned.
He should just shut up about NASCAR then and just move on with it. Like either do the class or just shut up already.
Well, I think
they're not going to make you not take the training.
One lady.
They're not going to drop you taking the course. You're not going to stop talking. What? You guys are literally beating your heads against walls, except you're on one side, NASCAR's on the other. Just
asked about it. When he's asked about it by the lady from Flow Racing, or what's the other one I've seen him on? Honestly, the other one was either Flow Media or Flow or Dirt Vision. I think it might have been. It was one of them two. If there's going to be people interviewing, they should not bring up that, knowing that he's not going to change his statement. NASCAR is not going to change their statement, and they won't. Anyways, besides the point. Sorry, carry on. I don't know why we got on that topic.
I don't know. We we're just talking about people owning dirt teams, and 6 minutes later.
Okay. Rusty Wallace, back at him. That was my example.
Hey, Rusty doing good. Kenny
guys got their fingers everywhere.
His brother Kenny, he races all over the place still. Yeah, one of the few people that I actually have on my Twitter that I never go on, but it was always nice to see Kenny, at this race. And the next night he's at a different place. And the next night he's at a different place. It's like what does Kenny Wallace do? And he's not broadcasting.
Racing.
Which he hasn't done in some time anyway. But anyway, it should be a good way to move far away from that. Except for good for Newman to get back out there. But Richmond sucked. Yeah. And again, 3 teams dominated the whole thing. And yeah. There's I think all 4 Gibbs cars were in the top 10.
I do want to say this though, in reference to last weekend, I think the Xfinity race was better than
by far. Yeah, there was better racing. And it just racing wise, that was a better race. And again, it was 2 lanes, kind of, because they still could compete up in the top lane, but I mean, they kind of stunk the joint out, and not in like a good way. Or if you're like a Harvick fan, it's like, hey, he just led like all but 4 laps. Woo, he stunk the joint out, but at least everyone else was racing. I mean, this is literally just follow the leader, and it wasn't a good look. This weekend should be good though. Stuff that you like. Supercross is back.
Yeah.
IndyCar, F1. You got the NHRA. We got 3 races in Martinsville. I mean, this weekend should should not suck.
Definitely better this weekend.
Definitely better this weekend. Thank God. It was.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. So you do have the super bikes on a 10.
Yep.
That's a Coda. You have
Coda.
SuperCross on the 9th. That's gonna be St. Louis, so that'll be Saturday night.
Yep. 6:30 Central.
Yep. Oh, also Saturday. I don't know. It might be televised. I'll have to. I mean, I won't be able to tell you before the show's over, but I'll let you know on that.
What is it?
That one might be, but GNCC racing will be on Saturday. We'll be racing Saturday in South Carolina at Society Hill. I wanted to make sure I told you that. ATV racing.
I mean, that's one of those. It's what I do to find a lot of it, like the stuff that doesn't get national exposure, which is why it doesn't get any bigger than it does. But just go into your thing, your guide or whatever, and just go to the sports tab. You can look at all the current on. In mine, I can even go to auto racing, and it'll pull up
everything.
I'll be like, how about that and like
also something else. Just on a side note, speaking of that, my Apple TV, I've figured out that if I actually go onto the Apple TV app on my Apple TV box, I can literally just search in racing, and it pulls up every type of racing there is, when it's on, and how you can watch it, whether it be on your, like for you and me, we have satellite, cable, whether it's on an app of like,
very good.
Media. Yeah, it's very informative.
Yeah, very helpful, which is especially again with all the racing there is, like again, the racing one, like through Hulu, even if it tells me like, sorry, you can watch it with this. If you give us $5 more a month, you get yeah, pass. What? You already get enough money. Leave me alone. But
I have an idea for that. I gotta get a hold of somebody that can do apps.
But I used to know how to do it. Then I got. I'm sure I could actually sit down and figure it out, but it's too much for my brain. I have books though. I could start reading again.
There you go.
I could try to figure it back out.
F1, like you said, will be running this weekend.
That they will.
In Australia, hopefully the government will be reasonable enough to not make this shenanigans. Yeah.
Like when what's his nuts?
Also, this weekend, speaking of open wheel, you have IndyCars racing in Long Beach, California.
That you do. I'm excited about that one. I mean, I have a strange feeling I know who's going to win the race. We'll get to that when we get to the race, but I don't know, those street races. There's just something about street courses. I like them. I dig them, because they could do more with them. Not necessarily made for all vehicles, but.
Speaking of NHRA, when I'm thinking of it, last weekend they had a race. There's not another one coming up this weekend, but last weekend's race, I happen to have the list of winners here for you, Ski.
There you go, because I didn't have it. I sure as hell didn't have it.
All right, here we go. So, starting with top fuel, and then I'm going to actually, I'm going to do it the other way. We're going to start with top sportsman. We're going to go that route. Overall winner for top sportsman was Ed Olpen. Overall winner for Super Gas, Damien. We'll reread that, Chuck. Damon Bustamante.
Damn. Alphabet.
For the super comp class, it was Allison McComb.
There you go.
For stock eliminator class, it was Ryan McClanahan. Super stock was Justin Lamb. Competition eliminator was Ryan Pretty. Top alcohol funny car, Doug Gordon. Top alcohol dragster was Joey Severance. Pro stock was Erica Enders. Good job. Top funny car, Ron Katz. Hoorah. I like
Good for you, Ron. Get some.
And I did like the fact that he got that. And top fuel was, of course, Brittany, of course.
Hey, I mean, I mean, it should surprise no one.
And it don't surprise me. I'm sure there's people that get
With that last
hurt
name,
over it.
with that last name, that DNA. There's the reason the man never
And those
stops.
sponsors.
But yeah, I'm excited that, I mean, at least it's another thing. I don't ever watch it because I know I'd get stabbed if I tried to watch it. Like someone would actually cut me if I tried to watch it on there. But it's I'm waiting for the 4-lane one when they run that down.
That was last
Sure.
weekend
Oh, that was the 4-laner. See?
in Vegas,
Oh no, 4-lane one's in Charlotte.
not Vegas. Oh no, that one's
Concord. Sorry. It's in Concord. At the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Beautiful facility out there, by the way. I mean,
I have the calendar. I'll send you the schedule when we get done.
literally everything is right there at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I mean, they got the dirt track right across the street. They got the 4-lane drag strip right up the street. They got the racetrack right there. They got the campground. They got, Hendrick Motors. Hendrick. Literally, might as well say you could see it from the racetrack because it's right there.
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff when they do it. I just hope to actually get out there and see some races, this year, God willing, depending on how everything works out. Just because, again, I love the facility and they do so much more with it.
Excited to see the results from that Indy race.
Yeah. I mean, we got to get to Supercross first. It's a beautiful track this week. And I don't know, I just like ones with tunnels and really sharp turns for some reason. There's just something about it that entertains me. But they haven't been to St. Louis since 2020. I'm guessing that was because of idiocy, lunacy.
We'll leave it there.
All of that. But the podium 2020 was Austin Faulkner, Justin Cooper, and Brandon Hartranft. And Jet Lawrence was only 5th for the 250s. Granted, now Jet Lawrence is back east, and his brother is still in the west. So who knows what's going to happen there? And then the 450s, podium was Ken Rosen. I'm okay with Justin Barsha and Jason Anderson with Eli Tomac 4th, and Malcolm Stewart was 6th. So good run on him. Cooper Webb was 12th. And then the weirdest thing about it all, Chad Reed was dead last and 21st. You just don't see that very often. But 6:30 Central. What, 7:30 on the East Coast, I'm guessing.
7:30 East Coast.
Yeah. And again, CSN, again, you can go on Peacock if you have Peacock and watch it the next day. They have the whole replay and there's no commercials. So you fast forward for about a minute and a half in between races, and the next one is starting. So shout out about the only thing that's only a fast forwarding works because it's Peacock, and I'm just going to leave that at that. Is they're fast forwarding, it either works or let's just say it doesn't work. It works terribly, and you have to keep messing with it over and over again, repeatedly, because it sucks. But should be a good race again. We'll see what happens there. Formula One, as you said, the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. Hopefully, at least they let everyone there, because I remember the whole tennis player a few months ago, headache and all, like, for love of God, like that was just dumb. We don't need any of that, but they haven't been there.
The fact that F1
2019
is going, do you think they've kind of got that settled, and there's not going to be any
idiocy,
no conflict?
Yeah, they haven't been there since 2019. Again, they were getting ready to do it, right? All the COVID stuff happened in 2020. And then, we saw how well 2021 went when people tried to do anything there, like, go outside their house or breathe. I mean, they tried to breathe.
In 2020, we weren't even allowed to buy paint in Michigan.
Yep. But, it got dumb. But for anyone that's actually watching the video, there's actually the track for the Australian GP. You're welcome. But I'm actually because I thought it was a really good race. And this is just telling you how
Do me a
How-
favor on the map. Where's the start finish line? If it's where I think it is where I think it is.
Yep, right,
All
pretty
right.
much dead center of the straightaway.
Them last two turns, those last two turns are always, that's what I thought it was too. Those last two turns are always interesting.
It goes that way, people.
Yep. What number is that one?
That one.
there.
That
No,
one.
up. No. What number is that? Nope,
10.
back down. The one you were just on.
13
That's what I thought.
out of 14. It's a beautiful track. I mean, it's a great layout. I love when they, do stuff like that. And just reading the podium from this one, like this tells you how long ago this was. Valtteri Bottas in a Mercedes winning. How long ago he was? Lewis Hamilton, obviously, in a Mercedes. Verstappen in the Red Bull Honda. Sebastian Vettel finished fourth, driving for Ferrari.
Oh.
Charles Leclerc was fifth for Ferrari. Carlos Sainz, let's look what he's doing now in Ferrari. He was driving a McLaren Renault, and he finished, 20th, dead last after only 9 laps. And now you look at where everyone's driving there. What Charles Leclerc and Max and Lewis are the only ones that I even mentioned that are still in the same thing. The Haas just got, brought him back, their driver, and he's actually getting points for them, which they didn't do since they got rid of him. So maybe that just should have been a sign that something wrong was happening. But I'm going to put money on Red Bulls and the Ferraris this week. And again, they're superior to everyone else right now, and no one's going to actually. I mean, look at them in the first race; they would have just ran roughshod, got the top 4 if people didn't. The cars didn't blow to pieces, in the last 3 or 4 laps there for Red Bull. So I'm putting money on them, and I want to see Haas get more points just because, for how long they were out and not getting any points, I'm quite all right with them, just because of the money that they put into it. And they actually do put in money effort. They're over here in America, which how many of them can say that? I mean, there's a lot of so I just USA, I don't know what I like Haas. At least they have the balls to go out there and do it. Do I think they should have got rid of what's his name? No, but now that he's back, what do you know? You're getting Magnussen, wasn't it? Kevin Magnussen. Sounds right. But once they brought him back, they actually started, doing good again. It's a miracle. Granted, I know how all those things work out and all of that. I mean, obviously that's how it all works out. It's all money and idiocy and lunacy.
I mean,
and performance does play a large, part in it.
I
But
think there's a lot of those guys in that. I don't want to say that. The guys in the actual engine shop, and then in the actual actual maintenance shop where they're legit doing the engine installs. I think those guys deserve more credit than they get. I think between the drivers and the crew chief and the spotter, there's where all the talent.
I was right. Kevin Magnussen. There we go.
Yeah,
I was right. But and again, there's a lot of stuff, and they're like one of the newer teams. I mean, they haven't been there as long as a lot of these guys. So for them to have anything is good. And again, they're just trying to upgrade. It didn't work out. Well, they brought him back. Suddenly, boom, points again. But every team does that. I mean, look at how many names I just mentioned and how many of them are anywhere near where they were just last couple of years. So I hope they do good, just because again, more competitive teams is better for the sport.
I think you see a lot more team manufacturer changes in Indy and any open wheel series like that.
Yeah.
I feel like you see a lot more changes than you do in, say, NASCAR's like Cup or Xfinity.
Yeah, like
and even the trucks, you don't see the owner, like the team owner manufacturer changes like that, like you do in the others.
You don't, but
you even see it in Supercross more than you do in NASCAR.
Yeah. Trust me, just go back and just you're going. He drove for what?
Yeah, look at Stewart. Dude was on top of the world, and all of a sudden he wasn't racing for Kawasaki no more. I mean, and he wasn't on top of the world for just a minute either. He was on top of the world for a hot minute. And
again, it's just little things, and whole world explode. But should be a good race. And again, like the schedule worked out really good this time with how everything's staggered. And again, except for Supercross and the Cup race, but you can if you have Peacock, you don't have to worry about it because it's there the next day.
Or you can always, as our friend on TV likes to say,
your DVRs.
Your DVR.
So you never miss a race. But Sunday, 1:00 on ESPN, which is really cool because by the time that's done, that'll move us into the IndyCar race again. That beautiful. It's a beautiful logo. Like they have a nice, like that's one of the nicer ones. Again, it's tiny as hell, but the Grand Prix of Long Beach out in California, which just sounds weird. And again, you look at the track, pretty weird. Turn one around right down there off of that. But yeah, it should be. I mean, they haven't run there. And, again, they ran there in like October, I believe it was last year. Like they ran it at the, I think it was the ender. Like they're at the end of this, and now they're doing it this early in the season this year. I mean, granted,
really
moving it last year though with COVID and stuff in California, I mean that could have made it.
Well, I mean,
so they had to move it until everything was more copacetic, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
I won't turn this political, but as long as people keep their heads out of their keisters, we shouldn't have to deal with that again.
Yeah, like so. But when I thought about it, like, well, that's probably why. But podium, Colton Herta from Andretti Autosport should surprise no one. I mean, that kid, he's leagues above on street courses. I mean, and I think he's still
also look where he's driving.
Well, yeah, but you see him in some of these. You put him on a street course with a whole different beast, and I think he's still pissed that he should have won Nashville last year, but he ended up wrecking himself in the lead by driving like a dick.
Yeah, that was a very rough race for him.
Yeah, he killed himself that day, and that was all on him.
Oh no doubt to it.
Joseph,
remember watching that race.
Go!
What in the world?
Go! What the? It was like the movie Uncle Buck.
I've ever seen in that series people have been able to spin out and correct themselves without losing positions. Very few people I've ever seen do that in the Indy series of any form.
No.
F1, Indy.
He sounds like man, John. That had to be like the John, Candy and like Uncle Buck. What do you? Let me do. Come on.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, good job, moron. What? There wasn't anyone inside of a year of you.
You know what that reminded me of? The movie Cars, when Lightning McQueen runs the whole race without changing tires. Yeah, look at that. That screwed you on the last lap.
Hey, that's all it takes. But Joseph Newgarden, second for Penske, and then Scott Dixon for your boy Chip, finished third.
I like their Indy outfit.
Yeah.
Let's
they got it's much far difference between them. Jimmy got 17th out of 28, and he was on the lead lap. Which so good. I mean, in his first time doing it, good on him. And he was just there recently, which, October to now is much less time than. So I mean, at least it should be fresher on his brain. But again, 17th out of 28, still on the lead lap. I mean, it raced a lot of people, and he was just figuring out how to do it.
And he was on the lead lap.
Yeah. Yep, and I think he's going to keep. There was a lot of people. There was a lot of people that were down. I think there was besides the people that were out. What?
Sorry, not to change topics, but side note from the conversation earlier. Speaking of lead lap and finishing, I want everybody to know that Ryan Newman, when he finished that race, he was the first car one lap down.
Oh, so he almost made it for not racing for forever. I mean, I bet he was even okay with, just to be back in a car. I'll give you that, but
I assure you, nobody passed him to be the first car one lap down though in that race.
But yeah,
all right, back to your Indy.
Sorry. But Colton Herta, I'm picking him. I mean, I don't know. I think Scott Dixon's going to be up there because it's Scott Dixon, but I got to put money on Colton Herta just because him street courses, and again, I still think he's kind of pissed about that whole Nashville thing. I mean, I would be if I were him. I mean, I saw him when he got out of the car. He, dick. What, you're the one that went out there and drove like a jackass. What you were? What you shot yourself in the foot with your own gun. You're welcome.
Like Kevin Harvick. It was just a last ditch effort. Sorry, Kyle.
But Yeah, I'm gonna put. I mean, I say that top three is probably really safe again, just because of where they are. Yeah, obviously, Colton Hurd is good, Newgarden's good, Scott Dixon's good. Like,
Yeah, but I have to be honest. I always have a slight little edge when it comes to pulling for the Andretti camp.
Yeah, well, I do too. I have to, and I find it. Yeah, it's just there's
I
something
feel like
about
if
it.
I watch that and don't pull for him, their camp, I'm
You're going to
doing
hell.
something wrong in the eye of the racing gods.
Yeah, you don't want to piss them off, like Mother Nature.
Baja God sitting up there going, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Fact. But Sunday, 3 o'clock on NBC and streaming live on Peacock. Guess what? Turn on NBC. You'll thank me later.
Yes.
Or welcome, because oh my God, did that suck? Like, Peacock, just please don't do it to yourself. It's not worth it. You don't deserve that. Yeah, all of that. But we can move on to the things that you like. Being Camping World Truck Series, again, short track racing in Martinsville, always fun. Kyle Busch is the only Cup guy announced. I think there was 3 spots, but when you looked at the team names that didn't announce their drivers, I'm like, who, and yeah, we should be okay. But Kyle driving his own truck. Again, they ran October 30th, like last year. That was another one of those. They ran it at the end of the year. Now they're running it in the spring. Again, I have no problem with it. Top 10 was, shouldn't surprise you. Zane Smith, Austin Hill, Tanner Gray, Chandler Smith, Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes, Stuart Friesen, rounding out, top 7.
Canadian boy.
Yeah, Randy, took up, the top 7 there. I mean, Austin Hill's gone, obviously, but I mean, obviously we know who to pick there. But Haley Deegan got 17th. See if she gets not. Grant Enfinger was back in 19th, but still, baffled me because of where they were.
Yeah.
21st. I mean, but Johnny Sauter was 31st. There was idiocy involved in that. And John Hunter finished 39th. I have an odd feeling he's not finishing 39th this year. Again, unless something stupid happens.
Also,
he's good.
Speaking of Martinsville this year, little clutch there. You said one of them, Kyle Busch, but also Willie B will be racing trucks this year.
Oh, was he on there?
Yep, he's racing tonight too.
Must have shot through the list too fast. Actually, it's the font was way too small, and I was sitting there going,
"That's fair."
But I think the more he races, he's one of those. Like, the more he races, just better off he is, no matter what it's in. I mean, especially as he started out in iRacing before he got like his big, like, look where he got from iRacing. Just think if you could put him behind the wheel of enough stuff in real life.
I know it sounds partial, but I really do think
you always are partial.
I think he has a chance to show something good this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, last year, in the fall, it didn't work out as good for him, but in the spring in the Cup race, he finished 12. I mean, it's somewhere he knows where to go as long as nothing stupid happens. He's just had so many mechanical stupids so far. Like, and then whatever the hell Atlanta was, I mean, turn 1, kadoosh. Well, that lasted long.
Back to racing gods, I'll give a shout out to Haley Deegan. Let's go, Haley.
Yeah, she needs. I mean, she just needs some good luck. Like, her only problem the last couple of weeks is just she's so much like her truck catching on fire at Atlanta from the brakes, but like she's just had the weirdest damn luck. I mean, for weeks now. So it'd be nice, good change of pace to see her just finish.
I think it's time for some more Ford teams in the Truck Series. Give some of these drivers an opportunity. I mean, honestly, why couldn't Stuart Haas start a truck?
I mean, they could.
I know what it costs to run a truck for a year versus a Cup car. I know what it costs to run a truck for a year versus Xfinity. No reason why he couldn't throw one truck team together and have a decent outfit for him to groom drivers.
I use a better word than grooming. It's making me think of other more hostile things. But
it would make a better environment to train people.
Right. Across the board.
Better as a driver, better as a pit crew, better as a crew chief, better as spotters. You could gain so much more by eliminating or apprehending talent that way.
It'll literally be it'll help, you know, everything, really, like you said. I mean, because there's just more moving pieces.
And if
Everyone can get more
and if he needs a quick
experience.
start, he could start one up next year and put Matty D in the truck. Come on, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they could do it, and
you
there's a
give him
lot of
something
ways they could do
decent,
it.
he's going to do good.
Yeah, like just give them anything. But again, it all comes down to, money. And right now, maybe I mean, I think it's good that they're only focused on trying to get, the two they have now, like actually functioning. When you look at Riley Herbst, he was up there. I mean, and he's doing good. Like he's like everyone seems to do good. But when you watch the race on like normally on Saturday, Riley Herbst is doing bad. Well, make sure you have an extra couple beers on Sunday.
Yeah,
Or whatever you prefer. Yeah, but at least they got it somewhat pointed in the right direction. But yeah, I think Haley will do better if she has good luck. I'm Matty D is on my he's not on my list to watch out to like win, but I think he's going to turn everything around and actually just again if he does like he's just had bad luck. I mean, everything that happened at
I think
COTA,
as
so he
long
had
as
to
nobody
start in the
tags,
back. Yeah, and like
as
he's
long as nobody tags him, he should be good.
just bad
He should be
luck.
able to finish top 10. I really do feel that way.
Yeah, and I'm not putting him in for the win, but battling, somewhere between like fifth and 10th. Yeah, I could see him being right up there in the mix, but not like in the
For
mix.
the
As long
win,
as nothing stupid happens, he's
got
going to
my
be
eye
up
on
there.
Chandler Smith for Matt Crafton. That for the win there.
Yeah, like I picked. Well, I mean, he's on my list. I got Zane and Chandler. Yeah, both the Smiths, just because. I mean, they're both killing it so far. I got John Hunter on there just because it's John Hunter, and I'm pretty sure he's probably still salty over last weekend at Richmond when, he would. Yeah, drivers don't forget. No, but you probably should because the guy that done you way dirty is also your boss's grandson. So he can get away with murder and well, everything's okay. But I bet you he hits him back, there will be issues. But I got Johnny Sauter on the list. I got Matt Crafton and Ben Rhodes just on. They're just solid. Sauter finishing like that was just like so. I think
I'm
it'll be
sure there was a
exciting.
conversation after that race last weekend.
Oh, I'm sure there's a conversation on Monday. I think what she just walked in there, punch him directly in the face. I mean, what? We're good. No, there was an elbow,
Oh,
right?
I'm sure it was taken care of in house. I'm sure there was some serious conversations in house.
What? Take your ass whooping. Why? Because at least he didn't run. At least he didn't jump the wall and go over and punch you directly in the face when you got out to get your checkered flag. I would have.
Yeah, because look where he stopped in relation to that.
Oh, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
See that line that close.
I mean, I did love John Hunter again post race, but drivers don't forget. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like safe man. Literally, I would just walked in, threw an elbow, and like what? We're good. Then turn around, and just leave.
Well, I probably would have had a moment after that race if somebody would come and talk to me in that scenario where I'd probably sound like Kurt Busch. I'd been like, yeah, you should probably just not talk to me so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to punch you in the face, but saying that'll probably get me in trouble too. If I probably, what? Well beyond probably at this point, my friend would probably get me in trouble. It for sure got you in deep water. But tonight, FS1 8 o'clock means Thursday night. College basketball's done. All that's done. Really, what the hell do you have to watch on the third? I mean, I don't know what sitcoms and all that like drop. Like I don't know what TV shows run regularly on. Like I don't watch any of them, so there could be something on tonight. For all I know, it's Thursday. Beats the hell out of me. I don't know, but it's on FS1 across the board all weekend. So I mean, it's really easy to find any of it. Tonight, though, starts at 8 o'clock, and again, it's the trucks on a short track. Like the trucks on short tracks. Trucks are normally, give you some of the better racing of the weekend when they're racing anyway. Trucks.
This is a side note.
It should be good.
I wouldn't mind seeing Kurt Busch get in a truck.
Well, I'm sure it has to. I mean,
that sounds stupid, I know, but
not at all. But I'd like to see him go down there. I'd rather see him go down there in one than like Kurt. I mean, than Kevin go and drive for Stuart Haas, because someone would like it. Last time I remember him, I mean, I know he's driven in a truck since then, but the last one I remember was at this very track. And well, he let us know why there was no option other than him leaving for Stuart Haas after that season, because he was straight and blunt. And well, he let the whole world know exactly how he felt about, I believe it was Ty Dillon. And it was not very nice. And that's why he left, because it's silver spoon fed, disrespectful.
Yep.
This is why I'm leaving. Well, at least he said it on national TV in case no one knew. But
I mean, that could have went different. I feel like that was a better way, because at that time he still had a little bit of a hot-headed chip on his shoulder.
No, like he handled it great.
Seen going a lot worse than what it did.
Walk over there and just hit dude with his helmet. I mean, it's Ty Dillon. Maybe it would have knocked some sense and ability into him. Just saying. I mean, he drives good enough equipment that he should not be finishing 15 spots behind his teammate, unless Eric has some kind of trouble every race. I'm just going to leave it at that. But it should be good. Again, it's Martinsville. It's kind of like one of those, it's Bristol, baby. Yeah, it's Martinsville. Like it should be good. The Xfinity Series is tomorrow night, and I know a lot of people like Friday night. Like people actually do go out, they do things. Like I fully understand if you don't get to, but I mean, you can set that DVR.
This might be nicer for people to watch it. Dale Jr. will be racing tomorrow
in the 88 Hellman's mayonnaise car.
Yes, sir.
And Ryan Truex is in the 18. So literally, if I was John Hunter, I would have walked and punched him directly in the face and be like, "See you in 2 weeks." Like, walk and kill him, maul him, and just walk out. But last year, top 10. I mean, Josh Berry got that win, and look where he is now. I mean, that set him off to get a full-time ride. So good on him. Gregson was second. Hemrick was third. Of course, Ty Gibbs is fourth up there. But then Brandon Jones, Austin Cindric, Harrison Burton, seventh. Look at him. He actually ran decently, something. Haley, Allgaier, and Annette round out the top 10. Dinger was 13th. Brendan Brown up in 27th. So hopefully he does better, because he's actually had some, top 10 finishes this year at places that weren't play track. So good on him. Riley Herbst was 29th and Castle was 37th. But really just from what I've seen this year, like in this order, just because of where it is, like we're going to have to watch Junior Motorsports, then the guys from Gibbs, and then the guys from Kaulig, like in that order. Because
speaking of Kaulig racing,
I mean, because again, they got Barry, and look where he came from. They got Sam Mayer, look where he came from. They got Gregson and Justin Allgaier. Like I just think they have too much to outdo. They'll outdo Brandon Jones. And
you think they're going to have
Gibbs.
issues this week? Right. They got some penalties last week.
Yeah, they did. I mean, thankfully, because it's Martinsville, I don't think it's as much of a.
Well, it was a lug nut problem.
Yeah, I'm saying I just don't think it's as big of a problem for them to be going. I mean, lug nut problems aren't good, but at least if you're going to lose people from it, at least Martinsville. Yeah, I mean, granted, setup does help, but that's just the ability to drive. It's not nearly as much stuff as they have to. I mean, granted, when they get to other stuff, like the penalties are going to drag out for a little bit, but I think Martinsville's at least a good spot to get. And then Bristol Dirt's coming up, which everything's just thrown out. Like everything's thrown out there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, but for the love of God, Joey Logano went out, I'm pretty sure, won the Xfinity race last year. Without ever I have no dirt experience, goes out there and wins. So who the hell knows what's going to happen when we get there, but I think at least it's a good spot to be. I think that, again, Junior Motorsports has too much of an advantage. Driving wise, with the cars they have and the talent they have driving it, I just think it's going to be hard for anyone to stop them again.
I say look out for Dinger and Mayer.
Yeah. And Josh Berry.
Barry.
They got Josh Berry and Sam Mayer, and look where he got them from. Look where Josh Berry is now, just because of this track. But those short track guys,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like
stay
these guys
out of the way.
Modified.
Yeah, like they know how to get around that joint. Like they know how to do it, and they've proven they know how to do it. And I mean, I think again, so I'm putting them against time, Brandon Jones, who I always put pretty much everyone ahead of Brandon Jones. I don't know. There's just something about him that hurts my head. Maybe it's his face. I don't know. Maybe it's because he wrecked out on lap one during COVID when we at Pocono during COVID. Like coming out of turn one, he wrecked himself in the trucks. I'm saying, like, really? Like, really? Cool. What this is how today is going to go. Like, lap one, turn woo.
Yeah.
Like I know it, but so I just think they have too much power, Junior, this weekend. I mean, I love Dinger. I think he'll be up there in the top 10, but
Barry is.
you got Josh Berry, Sam Mayer, and Noah. I mean, those two are ahead of Noah in this one. He's just too good at it. Like, there's a reason. Like, they even, like, Junior even knew who they were, him and Sam. Well, there's a reason. And it's tracks like Martinsville that.
Well, I mean, you put.
Are that reason.
I feel like you put Josh Berry on anything like a mile or smaller, and he's gonna have an unfair advantage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really like, I think this weekend, Bristol Dirt, he should do all right there. Dover, I'm really looking forward to. It's not about concrete tracks, it's just short tracks and concrete. There's just people that get it, and well, he happens to be one of those.
I also think
really
it's
get
worth
it.
saying the guys that do really good on asphalt, unless they come from a small circle track background, I feel like they don't do as good as the other drivers on smaller concrete tracks because it is a completely different type of racing surface. I mean,
Completely.
Concrete, one, wears different than pavement. Two, it holds different than pavement. So what can wash out one way or another on pavement washes out completely different on pavement. I've seen rubber stay on concrete. I mean,
yeah, it's a whole different. And again,
it can hold some rubber.
It holds rubber. It washes away rubber. It builds up rubber and wears tires down, in different ways. Then it's got different grip. It's got different. I mean, they're literally. I mean, what's the difference? But it's actually at that speed.
Different.
At that speed, but it's a pretty big difference. I know when you go for an overpass in your car and you go from asphalt to concrete, and you're going.
Yep.
Like what? The reason
it's definitely a rougher surface. Let me tell you.
Remember, bridge ice is before road. Temperature, everything is different about them. And again, he's just one of those guys. Ryan Truex.
You're racing on concrete. I'm not going to say this lightly, but I've raced on some concrete surfaces that no bullcrap felt like I was racing on dirt because of the surface. It just it feels like that dirt. If there's a small rut from rubber or something, it feels like a dirt track and you're hitting a crater. It feels just like.
And I like it because I think it'll be really compared to last weekend.
Those circle track guys, small circle track guys. That's why they do so well, because you don't have time or chances to really change for that. You just got to deal with it.
You just got to go. Either you get it or you don't. And thankfully for Junior, he has quite a few guys that
get it. Environment can get it.
They get it. Again, Ryan Truex is driving the 18 this weekend. Do I think he'll I think he's actually a quite talented driver, given the right circumstances. He doesn't get to be in the right circumstance a lot of time, kind of like Trevor Bayne. Like, he went from winning the Daytona 500 there at the Wood Brothers, but then again, he was still driving for the Wood Brothers. And then he was driving for, Roush, which, no offense to them, wasn't doing the greatest, in the world, which is why he was all mad when he had to start sharing the seat with Kenseth. Yeah, like what he was trying. Look, they were doing everything they could to try to fix it. No offense, obviously, like, you weren't helping it, but they weren't really helping themselves then. And look at them right now. I mean, like, they're still on the downside, but I think he could do really good in there. I want to see Landon Castle and Herbst get better runs than they did last time. Brandon Brown keep getting better, but yeah, I just don't think anyone's beating Josh Berry, Sam Mayer, and Noah Gregson. Algire's good on them too. I mean, like, they Junior's just too stacked. Because of the track.
I don't know, man. I think you were running a better track at the beginning of that. I think you're right with the Sam Mayer, Josh Berry pick. I think Josh Berry and Sam Mayer most definitely are going to show that modified ability.
And unless the only thing that's going to beat him is, Ty Gibbs just uses them as his brakes going into turn 3 and 4. Yeah, he's good at that. Need to do it to your teammate too. Like, oh, you're not running for the championship. And then get shoved like then he was sideways.
It'll haunt him. Don't worry.
He was sideways, like going down. Like John Hunter was like, "Oh, really?" But don't worry, it'll haunt him. Let's say around November.
The second weekend in November. That's when it's going to haunt him.
Like that would be
first or second weekend.
I'd go spend lots of money on a certain someone's gear. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Like what?
That'd be my new favorite driver in the Xfinity Series.
We already love him in the trucks. What? Told you.
I would be buying Xfinity gear for him if he did that.
That would turn into what? Told you I don't forget. And now he'll be thinking about what? He'll now have 3 months to stop and think about why he should never do that to anyone ever again. What? Learning.
Nope.
Well, there you go. What's the worst that could happen? Gibbs fires you. It's okay. Already screwed you once. Let him fire you again. That gets us to this one. I don't want to talk about how one of the best races of the year got lowered by 100 miles. I still don't but then the fall race is still 500. Like, I get it when they shortened Michigan or the Pocono race, because big track, big speed, like high RPMs for a very long time, and motors exploding. Like, I get shortening. Well, honestly, as much as I like them, I get shortening those because especially lower teams that are already having trouble when they're out there blowing motors left and right. Like it cost effectively, it probably helped.
You have to have a lot of money to race 500 at Michigan. You have to have a lot of money on that. I think the average race they said is $5 million for the weekend in the Cup Series. Yeah. Well, I got news for you. $5 million is not something these little guys can just shell out. So you come to a track like Michigan, you gotta have a backup car. You gotta have the car you're gonna run.
Pocono.
You ain't gonna have enough money for an extra engine.
Yeah. Pocono
have on top of those 2 cars. Then if something happens, you gotta go to the backup car or swap engines.
That's why I like that in Pocono. I get when Pocono, I wasn't happy because obviously I grew up right there, but when they lowered it by 100, I wasn't happy, but it's amazing. 500 mile Kyle Larson sideways on that track. Don't get me wrong, but just for how many less motor issues people have had since they dropped that 100 miles off of it at Pocono, and transmissions, because you got to shift.
Well, honestly, at the same time though, if you bring into the picture the idea of them changing everything a couple of years ago, bringing in stage racing like they did, they could have kept tracks like Michigan at 500, but instead of going only 3 stages, maybe they should have bumped it to 4 stages at a 500 on a track like that. Give them guys a chance to bring their car in and not blow their engine. Yeah.
Let the car breathe for a few seconds, not just
exactly. They've done it before on big tracks,
damn near wide open for 500 miles.
If they're gonna promote stage racing and do it like they've done, they need to do it to where it doesn't affect tracks like Pocono or Michigan, and do it so it's 4 stages instead of 3. Because honestly, a 4-stage race in Michigan, I think they would save their engines. So them smaller teams would be like, okay, you're coming in low RPMs for an extra 7 or 8 laps, maybe even more for that race. Now you got to split up. You're just getting a break. You're not cracking heads. You're not.
Yeah, at the rate they go with stages too,
it saves a lot.
At the rate they've been doing stages lately, ending the stage and then finally going back green 8, 9, 10 laps later, that could save them. And granted, a bigger track like Pocono or Michigan, obviously they're not going to get 8, 9 laps out of it under caution. They shouldn't anyway. Stage end, pits aren't open. Come back around the next time. Pits are open. Then they come back around again when all the lap guys get to pit. Then the next lap, they should be at like the choose and they should be going. Like it should not take 8-9 laps. It should take like 4. Because, you have to open up the pits, get everyone, like I get all of that, but 9, like I don't care where you are. It should not take 9 laps to get it from stage end to next stage starting. That's dumb. But
Oh shit.
again, they lowered it 100 miles. So, and it's at night. Like, it's again, with the Supercross and F1 and stuff on Sunday, though, in the week, like I get some of it because it makes sense. But last spring, Truex got the win when he was on that roll of short tracks. I remember before Gibbs, he couldn't run on short tracks to save his life and he hated them. And now look at him. But yeah, and then Elliott, Hamlin, who's, those two, I'm sure will be somehow right on top of each other because they always are in Martinsville. Maybe this time Chase will finally do Denny a favor. Hey, he knocked him out of the last race of chance to go to the last race of the season because he wrecked him straight out. With Denny can say what he wants, but that wasn't a bump. And he did it. He did it 2 or 3 straight years. What that was just straight up being.
I think between Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Kevin Harvick, it's going to be hard for him to just push people out of the way.
Someone's getting punched in the face. Well, he does drive for Gibbs, though. So, it's completely okay to use someone as your brakes. Boom. Drive by, waving, big smile. That's just something in them. But Byron was 4th, Larson up there in 5th. I think he'll do, better, hopefully. Logano 6th. He's always good. Christopher Bell got 7th. And then Reddick, Harvick, and Kyle to finish out the top 10. Again, Matty D was 12th. Let's see where Harrison is. Don't worry. I will never forget. Bubba was 16th. That's terrifying. Ross was 17th. Kurt was 21st. Briscoe was 27th. Eric Jones 30th. Suarez 32nd. Brad was 33rd. And Bowman was back in 34th, because of idiocy. But I'm picking, the normal. Got to go with Chase. You can't not pick Chase at Martinsville. He gets it. Even though that other guy I picked, Hamlin always seems to wreck him. But yeah, because those aren't bumps. There's a difference. There's a fine line. Larson, Truex, Kurt, and I want to see what Ross is going to do just because he got 17th last year and I know he's in a lot better equipment this year. So I think that'll be, a better result for him. I want to see how far ahead Eric Jones is from Ty by the end of the race. I want to see how far Kurt is ahead of Bubba, or Bubba can, granted, a lot could happen, but I don't get how there's an extra 100 miles and they're only starting at like a half hour earlier. I'm like, really? Okay. God, I love that twisted T thing. Never seen a can explode on someone's head like that, I must say. If you didn't see the twisted T thing, watch it. Like I've spiked cans and they didn't do what that did to that kid's face. That made me smile. I'm a terrible person for smiling because of it, but you make me smile. Thank you, Uncle Cracker. Oh, you make me smile. Thank God that came on after I listened to Kid's new album. Suddenly, it starts, because Apple Music just starts doing whatever it wants to after that. I'm like that. There you go. What? Don't throw in all this other country. Uncle Cracker put a smile on my face, though. But yeah.
I'm with you. I think this weekend will be the weekend for Kurt to show up his teammate, most definitely.
And he's always good there.
I hope Chris Buescher does good this year.
Yeah.
He's running in different series. He's running Xfinity Series, ain't he?
He's still up there in the cup and he does races everywhere, but Buescher's still.
I think he was coming. That's right. Never mind.
He's driving 17 still. He's doing, I want him to do better just because, again, he got called up into a garbage situation. It's like, hey, what? You're coming up. Can I just stay down here and keep winning?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Thanks, guys. This is what I want. All these great heights in my first 10 minutes in the Xfinity Series. You look at my cup stats. Granted, he won at Pocono because only in Pocono can severe dense fog roll in at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon and just stop a race. Only Pocono could pull that off. Lived there for a very long time. I can tell you.
race of the season that they used to have in Michigan was very possible to have that happen.
Hey, it's just like whenever we go to the desert, like this year, like Vegas, Xfinity race, it was snowing and sleeting at one point. But again, it's Pocono. It either rains or, well, it rains, or we get fog randomly. But I want to see, good thing. I think
Pocono's close enough to MIS that
you
you
get
get
the same
environment.
stuff coming off the lake. Just all that, just weird, but very
great. The whole Midwest region just kind of
it's very, very weird. Very, like, that's being gentle with it. But I am looking forward to see how bad Harrison Burton does. Don't worry, Harrison. I'm watching. Like, I know what he did in the car last year. So now you're going to go and prove my point again. It's not like I even have to try to be a dick. You just make it so easy.
Well, I told you. I think from here on out, anyone involved with that 21 team right now is probably going, man, we made it. Woo, did we screw up last year?
He wasn't ready. I mean, like, I'm not even trying to be mean. He wasn't physically ready. I mean, granted, look who he was driving for last year, though. They love sending people up that aren't ready. Did it to Logano. Did it to Suarez. Did it to this mother. They moved. I mean, they had people just coming up and going all over the place to different teams, and they all sooner or later. Yeah.
And that always will take me back to that interview with Tony Stewart, man. He named numerous drivers that came out of that camp and said they done them wrong.
Yeah.
Literally, that was the interview. He was basically stating that camp, that program does wrong for young drivers. It takes talent and it puts them in a closet and ruins them.
Yeah. And it takes some years just to try to even get back to anything. As you put them in inferior equipment and expect superior results. Eric Jones, they called him up too early. Christopher Bell, I mean, look how long it took him to do anything. Look, people are still saying he's on the hot seat, that he might be gone.
And all you gotta do is go back one generation in NASCAR. You look at guys like Brad. I'm gonna use him for an example. Brad Keselowski. Okay, before he ever got to like big Cup Series, he started here in Michigan. He was a local guy in Michigan, very small stuff. He funded his own crap until he got with George McCord, my buddy. And they got to race and money got involved, and there was sponsorship stuff involved. And George knows what he's doing. He's been involved with the Harley scene his whole life. And those guys all just knew what they were doing,
Yeah.
And they slowly came up. Guys like Kevin, he didn't get pushed up day after he started.
Yeah, he had to slay the dragon in order to get, like, all of them did. Again, Christopher Bell, hold on. I called him up too early to drive the 95 when they shafted. Who was it that was driving the 95 car? I'm pretty positive when he got shafted so Christopher Bell could have that seat for a year. Hold on. That was, I'm pretty sure, Matty D. I'm pretty positive that was Matty D. Yeah.
I'm pretty positive that was Matty D. I want to confirm that before I say it.
I mean, otherwise, what it was from Matty D to Casey Kane for 10 minutes to Christopher Bell. I mean, no matter what, Matty D got, the shaft. It happens a lot when they call people up that aren't ready. Matty D just happens to be that guy that's like, I'll drive a car for a year. Well, we need you for another year. Why? Because, well.
Here we go. Are you ready for this?
Where'd
it go?
Are y'all ready for that?
So the 10 most driving people for that car, I'm going to say the top 12 because the top 12. Okay. So one, the most races, this is from the most races to the least races in that car. The most races went to Michael McDowell. Second was Matty D. Third was Christopher Bell. 4 was Darrell Waltrip. 5 was Bob Dool. 6 was Scott Speed.
Yeah, we're way back there then.
7 was Casey Kane. 8 was Sterling Marling. 9, Gene Klein. 10 was Frog Fagan. 11 was Reagan Smith. And 12 was Gary Meyer.
Good old Reagan Smith. What we go from a guy named Frog to Regan Smith. Good for you,
Well, Frog,
Regan.
Fagan, Regan Smith, and Gary Myers, all three drove 11 races in that car.
Frog. How old do you know this list is after we hit the top four? Well, we got people named Frog. Wheels fell off on that one, but yeah, Matty D. Yeah, he got. Yep, it happens. But again, we go over it every week. They do it like habitually, like they just cannot help themselves, or they have good drivers again, like John Hunter. And they stuck him in what, the 38.
But this right here, this list is a proving point at the fact that they put guys in this car that are talented drivers. They're just not ready to move up yet. And then when you put them up there, they get put in a car that is most definitely inferior to anything else on the track.
Oh, let's not go that far. Ty Dillon's still driving the car. So,
well, no, I'm saying the car is more inferior.
Hey, he touches it. The car's brains, like the car's IQ drops by car loses horsepower the second Ty Dillon touches it. Just saying. But yeah, remember John Hunter. Look at him, and he was doing everything there.
Yeah, I was driving right. I was going to say I drove that car that got shafted. Jeremy Mayfield. I knew it.
Yeah, that's for a short. But yeah, I'm just saying, like John Hunter got screwed too, driving for KBM, going the trucks, doing everything, move him up to the Cup Series, put him in the 38, I think it was. And that lasted about 1 year because no offense to 38. Then they put Alfredo in there. And hold on, let me think. That lasted about 12 seconds, and he's back down again. Like, you're just cutting him off at the knees. But if I get off of my soapbox about that, regardless, it should be a much better weekend of racing than last weekend. Like, there's a lot going on again. Supercross is back, Formula One, IndyCar, and you got 3 NASCAR series in Martinsville. And I mean,
didn't David Reagan drive that car at one point? Number 38, the one you just said. Wasn't that David Reagan's car?
Yeah, that was his car until he finally said, for a long time. That was his baby. But he always did. I mean, he did better in it than a lot of people did. But again, it's David Reagan. I mean, he had a million years of experience compared to everyone else they tried to throw in there.
He was always in the top 40% at MIS. I liked him at MIS. The fuel air tracks he was good at too.
You could still, if the car, it's the car, it's the track. Again, something against them. I mean, front row, look how good they are now. I mean, they got a 500. Look at, was it Chandler or Zane? I think it's Chandler. Whichever one drives the 38 down there, and one last 2 weekends, like one at Coda.
Well, the 38,
down there
is
Chandler or Zane. See, there's too many Smiths. Confuses me. I try to remember which one's which. I don't know. What, they both win races? The last name is both Smith. They're always right on top of each other. I
wrote it down too.
I'm easily confused. Leave me alone. Forget about it.
I want to say it's Zane, but I feel like I'm going to screw up and I'm going to be wrong.
So I'm just going to say Smith in the 38 down in the Truck Series. They're doing good. So, I mean, they're getting better, but I think it'll be a much better.
No, it's not.
This will be a better weekend than last. This will be a better weekend than we've had, because I thought Coda was exciting. I think this weekend's going to be good. And again, we got F1, back in Australia doing that, and IndyCar's on the streets of Long Beach, which I think is still just something about street racing makes me smile.
I think they're going to have diversity stuff going in that too. That'd be a good race, Long Beach. You know who they should have there for that?
Well, I mean, we do, but will they? I mean, he might be there.
I mean, if there was going to be a race, that would be it. It's right there in Long Beach.
Hey, let's just hope they keep making the schedule better. At least they added stuff. Like, I don't want to get into having faith with whatever his name is, because he's given me a long time to have zero faith in any of them. But I think they'll get there. I think they should do more of that. I mean, if F1's starting more races here, now they're doing the one in Vegas on the streets starting next year, I think they should. Everyone else, I mean, that's a sign, at least, that racing's doing good if you actually give people good racing. Yeah. Which you no longer get at Richmond, because the races were better under the lights. I'm sorry.
I wish they'd bring back Indies to Michigan, and not even necessarily at MIS. There's other places in this state they could build road courses. I can list 3 airports that are more than large enough to do that at. I can name 2 towns that would be set up really good for doing that.
No.
There's no reason they couldn't come back to Michigan.
Yeah, I think they stopped going to MIS. What was it? Speed, safety, ticket sales. I mean, but they were going so fast.
Well, I understand.
I don't blame them.
They were hitting close to 240 at one point.
Yeah,
I mean, I get that.
You lose it at that speed, but that's
in that car.
That's
you
catastrophic. It's catastrophic.
That's the thing. They just shut the TV cameras off, and you don't get to watch the rest of the race at that point.
Yeah, like it's but I think there's a lot of places in the country where they could either build or have road courses that should be used more. But
in the words of Paul Tracy, I'm down to go that fast though.
Hey, Paul Tracy, he's a different human being, but yeah, should be a good weekend. And again, if I was John Hunter Nemechek, I would have walked in on Monday morning, just threw the hardest elbow of my life into Ty Gibbs's face and said, "See you in a couple weeks." But meeting over. What meeting? Grab a gavel. What meeting adjourned?
Exactly.
Throw an elbow. See you in a couple weeks. I'm out.
One more thing I wanted to look up. I forgot to look up.
I forget things all the time. Don't feel bad.
I know.
Even when I write them down, or I'm going to write them down, then I get sidetracked. It's okay. We got brain damage. We're allowed to be slightly confused.
There we go.
Just a little bit special.
Last week, I forgot to write it down, and all right. Right. Okay, well, they don't have their tickets up yet, but I was trying to pull up the SRX schedule. I don't remember what the first.
Oh yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah,
I heard that their game.
I don't remember if that's April or May.
I know that their video game I hear is far superior to anything NASCAR's put out in a while. Good job, Tony.
I mean, it is Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
I hope this isn't the first one, because this one isn't until the end of June.
Tony with technology. I mean,
kind of shocking, isn't it?
It could be sketchy at times, but no offense, Tony. He just doesn't seem like the techno type.
I'll have more information next week on that series.
There we go. Again, it's hard to find stuff, and again, I think it's it's just such a shortened, they did it smart by making it, a shorter season and starting it when they did. And they get a lot of bang for their buck in that short amount of time that they have. And they're not trying to blow it up and expand it to anything ridiculous. They're doing it smart, which is another good one. Well, it's not like, hey, let's double the amount of tracks this year. What? Like that would be done.
The last 2 seasons, the first 2 seasons, what did he do? He did 8 or 12 races, right?
Something like that.
I think if he keeps it right there, he's good.
Another race here or there, just for something, just to get more exposure somewhere.
Everybody listening, if you know where there's mini cup cars racing outside of the state of North Carolina in a series, let me know.
Find us. I'm all over the place. Comment away. Let us know. But with that, I think it's a good, jump off point. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to share it all out. Follow along on all the platforms. Again, videos are on YouTube and Rumble. I put them on there on Facebook too every once in a while when I feel like it. The audio is on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor. Like it's all over there too. It's on Good Pods if you're listening on Good Pods. Follow along on all the other stuff too in case you don't see it when I put it on Good Pods, because there's so many shows. And then I get, I can track those listens, per episode much easier there. And I will say, thanks to all of that for being, on Good Pods, at least we were at number 3 and 6. Number 3 for Indie Sports News.
Or 3 and 8, one of the 2. I can't remember.
3 and something like that. I'd put it up on the screen, but you guys won't be able to read it. There it is. Like I can read it. Number 3 in Indy sports news charts. Number 6 in sports news charts. Number 43 in the top 100 Indy news. And then we were in the top, we were positioned 125 in sports news on Apple Podcasts. So again, keep listening there and, getting that going, because I didn't expect to see 125th like that. Like, excuse me, like I thought I was like someone was lying to me, but turns out they weren't. So again, follow along and listen on everything. It helps us all out. Share it out, but make sure you find everything. Again, 7:30s, Supercross on Saturday. Truck races tonight at 7:30 on FS1. Xfinity race is tomorrow night at 7:30. The Cup Series is Saturday at 7:30. All 3 NASCAR races on FS1. IndyCars on NBC. F1's on ESPN Sunday at 1. It's easy to find. So watch it. Always set your DVR. Always turn on your notifications on Apple Podcasts. It's like setting your DVR because you'll never miss an episode. It'll let you know. And enjoy your weekend. So be good to each other. Watch it, and deuces till Monday.